I have the foresight. And my parents had the foresight based on what they learned. And I was able to 10x my results, but my daughters are going to 100x whatever I was provided, because I decided not just to rest on my laurels. I decided to make moves when it was scary. I decided to overcome great obstacles and not shut down to the circumstances. Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, AZ Araujo. So go ahead, if you're on this call, go ahead and check in. Thank you for joining me. I was just inspired all weekend, and I got to tell you, I'm just so grateful in the position that I'm in. And as I'm going through the different stories today, I want you to put yourself in a place of where you experienced that. Maybe you're experiencing that right now. Maybe you experienced it last year, or as a child, or as a young teenager, a young adult. But I really want you to tell your own story, okay? If that inspires you to go share with someone else, then do so. I think we all can gather our inspiration. We can all gather being motivated when we reflect on our own story. And I don't think we do that often enough. We're oftentimes comparing ourselves to others that we feel smaller than we should. We've gone through way too much. We've gone through too much experience to hold back, right? To feel like we're not worthy of certain things. But it all started this week when my dad, he turned 67 years old. My old man turned 67. And, my youngest daughter, she is just a big heart. I mean, she is very a warm individual and likes to do different things. And, my eldest couldn't go. She had practice, and Carla was working on some other things. So it was just me and her that went over to visit. But I felt this sense of appreciation for him, knowing that he was 67 years old. And as soon as he opened up the door, I realized how strong this man is. I realized how many years he's put in the reps, put in the work to be in a position where at 67 years old, he is strong, he is aware, he is healthy. And it just made me so grateful, right? Because him and my mom really showed us how to properly take care of ourselves. It was my decisions as a teenager and as a young adult to deviate from that. But they set a good foundation for me that I just failed to acknowledge. My parents were never drinkers. My dad, I never saw him have a beer in his hand. And yet I picked up that bad habit through the influences of others. Right? Because I didn't want to resist the peer pressure or the temptations. I oftentimes would just subside to them. And next thing you know, I have issues with alcohol, right? And, at that moment, I just had so much appreciation for that man, for being so strong and setting a great example for me, right? And, as I'm looking at him, as I'm talking to him, I started thinking to myself, man, I still have many healthy years ahead of me. I have to do my part and make the right decisions on a daily. But I remember as a young kid, my dad always had the same routines. He would wake up early and make himself a little pan. He had this little pan that he still has it to this day. It's probably a 40-year-old pan. Okay, it probably has lead in it, right? There's some type of lead-based, foundation to it, but he still has it to this day. And every day he would cook his own oatmeal. And he still uses this to this day, and I think that is a contribution to, just having that routine has made him very, very healthy to this day. And when I saw him, I was like, I have many, many years ahead of me, and I can't settle right now. I can't think that I've hit the epitome of what I can create. I have to take larger risks. I have to understand that my life is going to be long. My life is going to be fruitful if I continue to do the right things. My dad has done a lot of the right things, and he's reaping the benefits right now at 67 years old, where he is strong, he is healthy. And when I looked at him, I got so inspired, right? So inspired to realize I still have so much more ahead of me. I cannot settle now. I cannot be content with what I have now. I have to improve myself. I'm not looking just to pay off my mortgage and be okay with that. I need to continue to push myself. I'm not content with just staying in a 25 or 5,000 square foot office. I need to push myself. And I've done that. And as I walk around, I start looking at, the reps transform lives, right? Because it's the small, meaningless, what can seem meaningless steps every single day that compound over time to realize great returns. My dad is benefiting from that. And now I am down that same path. but I'm more aware than he was, right? He's given me the advantage, but I've 10x that. Very much like my daughters, right? My daughters I'm giving them an advantage where they're 100 times further than I was at their age. I sit back and I'm looking at them and I'm like, I'm so grateful. My youngest daughter made a decision on her own, a decision without me asking for permission or asking for some type of approval. She made a decision to get baptized this past weekend. And it came on the back of going on to a church camp. And she came back and she looked us right in the eye and she says, I'm getting baptized on the 8th. There was no question. It wasn't even, I didn't even ask her, are you sure? She knew what she felt. And I love the fact that she's able to make a decision based on her own trust. She didn't need anybody else to confirm that. She had her own trust in herself that this was the right thing. In a conversation, I said, what happened, Madeline? Like, why did you decide? She says, Dad, I just felt it. I want to be closer to God. I feel like this is the best way to do it. And I was so proud, right? And when I see her getting baptized, and I was very aware of just looking into her eyes, looking at her facial gestures. It was a beautiful moment to witness. And then I see my eldest, so proud of her as well, goes over and just gives her a big hug, and I have a picture of that. And that's going to be embedded in my mind. But it's the small steps we took many, many years ago where now I am transforming the lives of my daughters, where they're starting 100 times further than I was at their age. More aware, smarter, more confident, not being fearful of everything. And it was a decision that if I do the right things over time, big results will manifest on themselves. And that's the way we got to look at certain things. Because now I have to observe like the fruits of the work. And understand that everything that you want is on the other side of the hard, monotonous, painful work. The sacrifices, overcoming fears, overcoming anger and shame, overcoming your past. Everything that you want is on the other side of that. But many are just unwilling to go there. Many are unwilling to push themselves, thinking that they're limited to what they saw their parents do, when in fact they prepped us. Whether they had the foresight to breathe positivity in your head or not. It is now your decision to understand what you're going to do with it. And trust me, that I get it. There's some people that learned these good behaviors many generations before, where they're able to breathe positivity into their kids' lives. They're able to tell them that nothing can stop them. And some of us just never heard that, right? Some of us got the other side, the flip side to that you're worthless, that you'll never amount to anything. Like either or, you have an advantage because you're aware, and awareness gives you the missing piece to the success that you want. I have the foresight, and my parents had the foresight based on what they learned. And I was able to 10x my results, but my daughters are going to 100x whatever I was provided because I decided not just to rest on my laurels. I decided to make moves when it was scary. I decided to overcome great obstacles and not shut down to the circumstances. And we all face our fair share of trials and tribulations that brought fear, right? Maybe anger and shame for some of you. I know those are the same feelings I got. The ultimate trial and tribulation, which is to face death in its face and decide if I wanted to live or not, begging for my life. Not only that, but the trauma that comes after that. The trauma of thinking that the same people that try to hurt me are still out there. Like seeing the face of the individual who almost killed me everywhere I went. But I had to overcome. I couldn't be in my house and just shut down. I had to face those fears. I had to face that anger and the shame that came along with it. So, with all that I've been through, why would I hold back now? Some of you have gone through great illnesses, and I had a conversation this week. And all I did was breathe positivity into this individual because this person needed to see how great they truly are. They just overcame this great health obstacle, and they're still here. And it wasn't necessarily, the obstacle. It was the mind games we play with each other, right? That we play in our heads. What's going to happen to our children? What's going to happen if the medical bills go through the roof? That mental anguish is what really is the pain point. The mental anguish. It wasn't me necessarily getting shot. I was able to overcome. It was the mental anguish that lasted years that kept me back. But once I became aware, once I realized this was a blessing, once I realized that I would never have changed my behaviors had it not been for that man that I hated, I would not be here today. Instead, I appreciated the journey. I appreciated what that individual did to me. Because there was no other way God could have shaken me to wake up. And there was many times before that the signs were there. But it took my near death to realize that. And now I look, what a shame it would have been if I would never done anything like with that. What a shame it would have been if I would have stopped. The amount of people we're able to impact. The ability to meet with my best friend, my wife, and make a real change in this world, whether it's small or not. What a shame it would have been to not have Abigail and Madeline in this world. Because I decided to go and not stop and not succumb to the fears and the shame. And realize that the small steps every day, overcoming these fears, will get you further along to a point where you can't even believe what you create. I couldn't see the lifestyle that I'm living right now. I couldn't feel the fulfillment that I enjoy on a daily basis. I look in the mirror and I can't believe that 42-year-old man in the mirror. A strong body. But I know it came on the back of many hours overcoming the complacency and monotony of it all. I look at my bank accounts and I'm like, I can't believe what I see. But if I would have given up in 2014, where I was this close of shutting it all down, none of this would have came into fruition because I decided not to stop. I decided to have faith in myself and understanding I just need to do the right thing today. If I do the right thing today and I do the right thing tomorrow over years, something incredible will be manifested, will be created. And there was this passage that me and my daughter discussed, and it was in James 1:12. He says, "Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial." Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him. All that's available to every one of us. But again, it's the wiring. It begins with the wiring. Maybe you don't believe it's available to you. I'm telling you right now, it's in our DNA to overcome. It's in your DNA to be able to accomplish whatever you want. But it's these trials that many people succumb to. It's these trials that many people stop. And it's these very trials that will get you to that next level of life, that next level of success and abundancy. It's that next level of prosperity. I look at this company and I'm in awe. It all started with a handful of agents and a simple vision. But more importantly, it all was on the back of the work and just doing the right things. Seeking the perspectives of those that are in alignment with what I want in my life. I want fulfillment. I want a strong body. I want to be a great father, a great husband. I want to be a good person. I do the work and the challenges we've recently created, right? And this is something that is changing the lives of not only the people in Arizona, but throughout the country. But none of this would have been possible if I didn't believe in myself. None of this would have been possible if I didn't trust the work. Right now, I'm in a different studio right now, which we just put together. You should see all the wires here, all the cameras, all the lights. I have an individual sitting here managing the entire thing. And it began with the simple step, a process of just putting a camera up to my face. And then working on that over and over and over again. Where people built trust in me. And more importantly, I built trust in myself that I could do the one thing over and over again. But that simple camera made me appreciate myself. It gave me more confidence and certainty. And yet there are many individuals that are unwilling to do that. They're unwilling to put themselves out there. They're unwilling to appreciate themselves. They're unwilling to build that confidence. They want the results. They want my results. They want the top producer's results. The only way to get there is through the reps. That's it, through the work every single day. And all of a sudden, everything seems to be firing on all cylinders. Like everything works. And I'm not afraid that it's all going to fall apart because I know I can always maintain this. I am built for this. There was a time when things went too good. I started becoming afraid. What's going to happen if it all falls apart? Now it's a different perspective. It's not going to fall apart. Because I'm going to wake up every day and do the right thing. And again, it's like you can't lose if you're doing the right thing each and every day. Some of you don't have patience. I've seen agents come and go. They don't understand. I've been in this game 18 years. Maybe I know a thing or two. But I didn't fail you. They failed themselves. They wanted it faster. Without putting the necessary work, you'll never get it. And if you do, it'll be temporary. This process is meant to last. I am built to last. I look at my dad, I am built to last. I look at my results, I am built to last. My marriage, I am built to last. There's another quote here from Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary of doing good. Let us not become weary in doing good. For at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. How beautifully is that stated? We've all heard every person out there say that, every guru. But it's there. The foundation is there. Let us not become weary in doing good. Don't be afraid to do the right thing, even if it feels like you're not. You know if it's the right thing or not. For at the proper time, not your time, at the proper time, we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. That means do not stop. And all of us, I get it. All of us are, that thought's going to cross our minds. I get it. But it's the action. If you follow it up with action, you failed. All that was for nothing. And I don't care where you're at. There's more within you. There's dysfunction and comfort. Understand that. It is your ability to realize that you have to create more. I'm not doing this just for me. I solidified that a few years ago when I built the trust. I didn't know what a trust was. I had no idea. I didn't come from a family that taught me what a trust was what having money in the bank was. In fact, I was taught completely different. Hey, keep all your money cash under the mattress. You can't trust this. You can't trust that. They just didn't know. I know better. And I know that what I'm doing right now is going to last generations. Past my daughters, past their kids. Because I'm doing the right things each and every day. So if you're constantly being thrown off by the obstacles, if you're constantly afraid to invest in yourself, you're not doing the right thing each and every day. Period. If you're paralyzed, you're not doing the right things each and every day. If you have to ask for permission, if you have to ask for opinions, you're not doing the right thing every day. And that's where it begins. And those that have trusted the simple process are reaping the benefits you never realized you can create. And I'm just sitting back and I'm so fired up. I'm fired up of the transformations right before me. Physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. I'm fired up. And yet I see the complete opposite from time to time where I'm like, why did you give up on yourself? What a shame. What you don't understand is the consequences on the other side are much greater. The consequences of your marriage, the consequences of you as a father or a mother. Why did you give up on yourself? What a shame. And all I'm saying is this. You've overcome so much. You've overcome so much, and you cannot just walk away from all that experience. It's made you a better person. And now you're allowing the simple things in life to throw you off. A deal that didn't go through. Right? An offer that didn't get accepted. What a shame. So listen, the more you can work on fighting and overcoming, being afraid, intimidated, scared, we've all been there before. Every one of us. Why are you letting it stop you now? All you're doing is delaying what's truly yours, which is a prosperous life, a grateful life. So you can look back, you can look in the mirror and be so proud. You can look at your bank accounts and just be astounded by what you see in there. You can admire your marriage. You can look at your kids and realize that those smiles on their faces, was all based on your efforts. Guys, I want to thank you for joining me for this episode of Mindset Mastery. You know what to do. I will talk to you soon. Have a great day, everyone. Bye now. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast, brought to you by AZ & Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider.